So I've gotten in the habit of printing out these little color swatches for each of my rolls of filament. Instead of doing test print and all that, I print this out because colors change depending on the maker and sometimes batch to batch. And having a reference point for general colors here is really going to be helpful. The problem is I start collecting all these little chips and I don't have a place to store them. They have a little hole in there that I could probably put a carabiner or something through, but it just doesn't work for me. And you can see here, we can see what light passes through, but we have two very different whites. Even though they are both white, they are very different. The one from the Ender is more yellow and the Microbot one is much more white. Let's design something. Alright, so we're going to go into Onshape here and design just the first little bit of our case here. I'm not exactly sure what I want for this, but I have some ideas here. So the general thing, it's going to be a rectangle of some type. We have to take a look at the height. The total height of our swatches is 1.17. I want it to be like half of that, so I'm going to probably just make it a ½ inch as far as the height. And the thickness, right now it's saying 0.07. I'm going to round it up to 0.1, just so that I have some space to work with. And then I'm going to double that because I want to have separation in there. So that one's going to be 0.2. I'm going to set that as 0.5. We'll finish our sketch and then we're going to extrude this. The total distance here that it is 1.1, excuse me, not that. The total distance here is 3.14. So I'm going to add on 0.1 to each end. So that's going to be 3.34. So let's just make that 3.4 so we have a little wiggle room. Nothing big deal. So that's fine. Then what we're going to do is going to sketch on here. Go to our right view, hit G for a rectangle, and we're going to draw another rectangle in here. And then we're going to dimension this from here to there. Is going to be 0.1. From here to there is going to be 0.1. And then from here to there should be 0.1. So this distance should be 0.4. We may need to change that to be a little taller. And then the distance of this line is 3.2. So again, it's going to fit in there, no problem. Not a big deal. So I'll finish this sketch. And then we're going to extrude just this section. And we're going to cut it out 0.1. So put in 0.1, go to remove. Make sure the arrows go in the proper way. And then we have one slot. Now that doesn't look like it's complete, and I'm actually going to edit this original sketch to make that 0.6, just because then it's fully sitting in a ½ inch. That's not going to really influence anything. But what I want to do is I want to have this copied over and over again so that I can fit, I don't know, like 10 swatches or so together. So I'm going to go up to linear pattern. I'll click on our entire component. The direction that we're going to set is going to be horizontal there. There's going to be every 0.2 inches. And then I'm going to say, I don't know, 10 of them. I can go more if we want. I mean, it's not a big deal. I can go 20 of them. That looks good. So I'll finish that sketch. And then I'm going to go in here and go to sketch on this side. And then, well, before we do that, let's back up here because I made a mistake. Let's go over into our linear pattern again. We'll select that. We'll select our direction. Not that one. Our direction here is going to be that edge. All right. We're going to be 0.2 and I want 20 of them. And I want to make sure I'm adding that so it all becomes one part. Otherwise, if we click on new, you see how there's 20 different parts there and you see all the lines. When we hit add, it combines it with the original geometry so it makes one part. Makes things list a little bit easier for what we would want. Then I need to go in and sketch on here and we're going to add on the ending rectangle, otherwise it doesn't make sense. So I'll finish that sketch, extrude 1 and 2. It's going to be 0.1 and it's going out that way, and then I can finish that sketch. And now we have all these little, basically like slide decks for things. What I think I might want to do though is make this stackable in some way, shape, or form, so that I can store a whole bunch of them together. So I'm going to go into sketch and we're going to go on the right side here, and I'm going to just cut in a little rectangle out of here. It's going to be 0.05 and 0.05. We're going to remove that and we're going to do the same thing over here. 0.05, 0.05. And that's basically just the distance or the thickness of half the thickness of what we have there. So I'll go extrude this, go to extrude that, remove, and then we're going to do, instead of blind, through all. All right, so we have that, and I'm going to do the same thing to the front side here. So we'll go over to front, we'll sketch, and then we'll hit G. From here, I'm just going to make it giant so we can see it a little easier, because it doesn't matter once we put our dimensions in. And then this one is going to lock it onto there. 0.05, tab, 0.05, enter. There we go. And then I can go to extrude 1 and 2, remove, and again, distance through all. All right, so we have that. And now what I need to do is make little pegs or something to come up so they can connect in with another one. So I'm going to go sketch on here. We're going to go over to our top view. And I'm just going to try to design just a little L-shaped kind of thing that's like that. And then our distance here from here to there, when I dimension this, not a line. From there to there needs to be 0.05. This guy's going to need, oh no, this one could be like 0.1. The distance on here needs to be 0.05. This needs to be 0.05. And then we just need to figure out what we want for the distance on this one here. So from here to there, let's just do that as 0.1. And then we're going to replicate that all around this thing. So that's one of those drawn. So we'll go back to our top view and draw in the others here very quick and get our dimensions in there in a moment. I'm not worried about the dimensions right now. Just want to draw out the general shape that we need to have. There we go. And then we'll do one more down here. And then we can dimension everything as we need to do. So from here to there, 0.1. From here to there, 0.1. That is 0.05. And I know that it should technically be a little smaller, but these are kind of going to be a little bendable. They're going to stick up a little bit, so I'm not super worried about that they're going to be an exact fit there. They can push out or balloon out a little bit, and it's not a big deal. So we'll do that, 0.1. And from here to there, 0.1. And we'll do the following, or the same, should I say, up here. 0.05, 0.05, and I know there's faster ways to do this, like there's mirror tools and all kinds of other stuff, but for something simple like this, we don't need to really worry about that. All right, and then we're going to extrude these corner pieces up, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and let's see how tall we need to go. So the entire height of this is 1.17. And we already know that it's going to sit down, so let's do some math here. 1.17. We have to add on the 0.05 to make up where this thing will actually sit in at. And then what we need to do is we need to minus out what the height that we already have this is. So that would be 0.5. So I'm going to minus out 0.4 just so we have some basic stuff there. Now, this is not designed to be structural or super intense in any way, shape, or form. It's just there as a simple piece that we need to do. And then we can focus on, hopefully, putting fillets on this entire top area. We're going to do that at 0.05, maybe 0.04, 0.03. All right, it's going to give us some problems. So we're going to go in and fill it, and we're just going to select the edges here. We're going to select that as 0.025. And that should fit without any problem. And I might actually make those a little bigger because they're kind of small right now. But you get the general idea of what we're doing here, just trying to get edges lined up so that we can easily make this so that, one, it prints nicely, but also that it's easy to use and easy to get stuff back in and out. Because with the height, that should make it a little easier, but if we have... I just want to make sure that we're able to get stuff in and out, and these little fillets on here will absolutely help out in that way of things. So let's go in here. Just trying to get all of these set to the best of our ability. And again, Onshape with its fillets, I'm an Inventor guy. That's where my main training in CAD work goes, is Inventor. A little bit of Fusion, a little bit of SolidWorks, like FreeCAD. I've done a whole bunch of them. But Onshape, excuse me, seems to give me the most trouble with fillets, whereas Inventor will just plow through and just join them together and figure out the geometry. Onshape, not so happy with that. So let's do that at 0.04. There we go. that looks better. So I'll hit my green check for that. And then what we're going to do is add on some final fillets in here as long as it lets us. Or actually, we're just going to do chamfers, I think. Just to see if it will add a little bit of extra stability to that area. And hopefully it will work a little bit better for us. And I'm probably going to increase the size of that chamfer as well to be a little larger. Let's say 1/8. Let's go with 1/4. How's that look? And 1/2 is too much, right? 1/2's actually not bad. Let's go with 3/8. That looks reasonable. So I'll hit my green check there. And that should be everything we need to actually go through and print this. The only other things we're going to do is add some fillets to the outside. So we'll take this vertical edge and that vertical edge, that vertical edge, and that one. And I don't want to do anything with these because if I round that off, this area, well, it's going to cut in. So maybe that's not so bad. Maybe we'll round those areas off as well. But what I'm worried about is like if we were to put a fillet on the bottom of this thing, that's going to bring that whole edge out and not cut away, so it's not going to fit as easily. There are ways to correct for that, but I'm not going to worry about something simple like this. So I'll finish that sketch, and we have that there. So now we can go in and export it, and we're just going to call this swatch case. Or I guess it's really a holder, it's not really a case. But it's going to go in and do its thing, and then we'll go in the Bamboo Lab, load it up, and see what it does for us. Alright, so we have our swatch case in there. It's set and ready to go. And then I could just print as many of these as I happen to need. We're going to slice this up. It doesn't need to be anything structural, so I'm going to leave all the default settings as is. The only thing I may go back and do here, this is going to take about 2.5 hours to print. The only thing I'm going to do is enable supports. And the reason for that is that little overhang that we have there, I want to make sure that prints properly. So we can go in, you can see that there's a whole bunch of support material. It increased our print time by about 5 minutes, but that should allow the general kind of end process to look a whole lot better. So if you take a look through here, you can see that it goes through and does its thing, builds up and then out, and we have that. Now, my Bamboo is not my fastest printer. That's my FlashForge, but I'm going to print on the Bamboo mainly because it's networked and it's easy to do. With the FlashForge, right now I still need to go and do all the stuff through a USB stick. So let's go ahead and print that plate. We're just going to do it in black, and we'll turn on the time lapse and send that off to the printer. And we'll see the result here in just a moment. So I cleaned up the print a bit, but you can see that the stacking thing just did not work. It failed. The indents on the side worked fine, all that, no problem. So that spacing's okay, but the towers are just too thin on a bread slinger to be able to support it. But what I do have is a functional part. It's able to store the number of swatches I have right now. They stay in there, I can pull them out easily, I can go through and do it. And what I think I might want to do is make some type of self-enclosed case that I can close it up, and the swatches I can just kind of slide out more easily using that hole. So I'm going to have to figure out how to do print and place hinges, but that's a story for another time. So this is more of a slide holder right now instead of a case, but it works, and let me know what you think. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.